YouTube, what's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Justice coming at y'all with another YouTube read, another collective energy read. I hope this finds y'all at a clarifying time in your day. Remember to take what resonates and please leave the rest behind. I got a lot of personals to do, but I really appreciate every single one of y'all's likes, comments, shares, and subscribes. Let's go and get started. Angels of the highest of white light, please bestow upon me clear and concise channel messages for what my collective needs to hear today. Thank you and Ashe. Off the jump, the message that I got, so whoever I'm tapping into, there's something about, collective energy read. This could be a general energy read in terms of the general kind of like, what do you call that? Like forecast, energy forecast, so to speak. Opening up timelines and portals for wealth and security seems to be the theme at this time. So changes, expansion, the closing of timelines associated with maybe old themes, old things that are no longer resonant with what is coming or what is here or what is to come, so to speak. So whoever I'm tapping into, there's something about holding on through turbulent times, so I'm speaking about changes, shifts that could resonate with, maybe this is in regards to socially, in regards to, cycles, like I was speaking to in terms of generalities of things that were holding us back. So this could be social things, this could be social themes. Divination abuser was the highlighted message off the first card. So there's something about, ending off cycles with people's, whether it's spell work, people monitoring spirits, tapping into your energy illegally, trying to fuck with your day, trying to fuck with you, things like that. Those that were once laughing are admirers of you now. So whoever I'm tapping into, maybe you had to push through a tough time. Maybe you had to push through tough times. Maybe you had to push through maybe times where you weren't getting validated. Maybe times where you looked stupid. Maybe you felt stupid. Maybe people wanted you to feel stupid. This could be in any kind of regard of that. But this could be in a financial, this could be in regards to something that is totally irrelevant to social dynamics. This could be something that's financial. This could be something you're pushing towards your dream. You could have fell down a few times, whether you got laughed at or not, whether you didn't fall down, whether it's not that, it's just a common example, right? But of course, usually when I use the specific examples, it's usually for a specific person. So remember to take what resonates. Many want to collaborate with you. So whoever I'm tapping into, this could be a shift in terms of you being put in terms of on, not front street, not in terms of your business being put out. So maybe that could be something for somebody that I just channeled in terms of people trying to use things. Maybe you're at a low point. Maybe you weren't at a low point. Maybe these type of difficulties, that turbulence represents just difficult times in between trying to get to a higher mission, a higher esteem, a higher whatever that is, a higher pedestal, whatever that represents, right? That said pedestal, right? Maybe there's a little bit of difficulties along that road. Maybe those difficulties were strengthening you along this path. Something about shifts, changes to expand and to create some type of understanding, acceptance, or readiness, preparedness for some type of shifts, so you can enhance or inherit or be able to take upon bigger energies, bigger energy fields, or bigger dynamics that symbolize either more energy, more potent energy, or more aggressive energy, whatever that is. This could represent itself into moving into higher timelines, thus being the releasing of maybe comfortable timelines, timelines that kept us comfortable, habits that have kept us comfortable. Sometimes a strong habit or a strong use of a habit can strongly indicate or inclinate, if inclinate is a word, it can be an inclination for us to, or it can be an inclination for a timeline that we're serving or staying stuck to. And that timeline does not necessarily represent a physical, environmental circumstance. It's just a cycling of something that maybe looks different, but it represents the same thing. So maybe we're cutting off a recycling of events from keep happening, right? That could go with spell work, Page of Pentacles. Either way, there's an ambition for a desire for greater, for more, for better, for peaceful, for some type of higher esteemed gratification of an outcome. So what I'm saying is from that, there's some type of push that has been going on, some type of push, and this shift can manifest itself with falling out with people. This shift can manifest itself with jobs, opportunities seeming like they're lost, so you're being redirected towards something else. Maybe you went towards something or had to be pushed towards something, redirected, detoured towards something that maybe you didn't favor. Maybe you had an option, maybe you had choices, maybe you had something that you wanted to have, or maybe you wanted to go towards something that you wanted to go toward, but you were detoured towards something else that was more reasonable for you. Maybe it didn't seem like that reasonable need or that reasonable sufficing element was sufficing. So we can manifest itself instead of speaking difficultly in energy, right? This can manifest itself as two different options of like a job that you thought you wanted, and you end up being detoured and, you know, rejected from that job, or let's say you lost that job, right? And you didn't think you were gonna lose that job. You didn't think you'd be rejected. Whatever that was, you get detoured towards, okay, you get this other opportunity, and it's like, fuck this job, or fuck whatever this is. Like, why do I have this and I don't have that? You're comparing it, but there's something about finding that detour. Along that detour is manifesting something that maybe have been more catered to you. Maybe at the other job you wouldn't have been able to do this. Maybe at the other job you wouldn't have been able to do this in the long run. Maybe it wouldn't have served you in the long run. And I'm using this job as a, you know, not so good example of a commonality for an energy dynamic that I'm speaking of, if that makes sense. So you're the prize and the blessing. Maybe this is expansion. Whoever I'm tapping into, it could come from you choosing yourself, or, you know, cycles. Like I said, there's something I empathized or emphasized upon the physical environment not having to reflect whatever I'm speaking about on an energy level. That cycling doesn't have to look the same. That cycling doesn't have to look like the same pair of eyes, the same person, the same money, the same physical environment property. It doesn't have to be the same area. It doesn't have to, but it can still resemble and represent the same exact thing on a spiritual level. So I think with that, there's a representation of a hiring of somebody's self-esteem, self-worth, self-analyzation of whatever awareness of which is, in terms of what's helping somebody or is creating, catalyzing whatever this expansion is creating. So whoever I'm tapping into, you're creating big changes by simply making choices that maybe resemble a higher esteemed self, which could be bringing money coming in or some type of abundance. With the Hierophant energy, this is some type of you stepping into your authority. This is for somebody that's stepping into their authority in some way, shape, or form. You're irreplaceable, exactly. Something about worth. Content creator, influencer. I could be definitely tapping into one of those, but if you're not a content creator, influencer, there's something that is influencing changes. Influencer was highlighted to me, not necessarily content creation, but shout out to you guys. There's definitely a niche collective of you guys that are tapping into me. But like with influencer, there's something about something that you're doing. So let's bring it back to the value thing. If you're making choices that basically on a physical, vocal, energetic, transparent correlation, if it's saying I value myself and I think that I deserve this and I deserve this, if you're making choices that basically say that, that is kind of what this is kind of attracting in terms of these big type of shifts. If you're continuously making those decisions from that kind of jurisdiction, you may not be saying that at all. You may not be meaning any type of arrogance or anything like that. Purely confidence in terms of how you're resembling your choices or perceptions of which, right? And these things are what affects that reality in terms of the inward changes that slowly start to rapid fire. I said slowly in rapid fire, that's a contradiction, but kind of manifests itself into reality, right? So you're very beautiful, very handsome, whoever I'm tapping into. There's something about shifts in terms of you understanding. Maybe you're looking at yourself in a different light. Where good fortune is on its way, maybe there's something that's shifting in regards to how you're viewing yourself that is shifting your environment reality. Maybe, you know, that turbulence in terms of whoever I'm tapping into came from circumstances, situations, people that maybe you internalized. And I always go at that in a lot of my readings in terms of the internalization of environments, people, circumstances that we can't foresee until you step into a different embodiment vibration that kind of corrupts, alters, or contradicts it. And it brings you to this point, this crossroads, right? On an energy, we're speaking energy. But it's almost like a choice point. When you see something that's different, and you may have felt like something was more so attuned or assimilated towards your core identity, right? Within yourself. But when something else comes up to contradict that, there's this choice point, there's this crossroads point, and it can be anxious, it can be intense, depending on what those ideals are brought up at that crossroads, right? And there's two different directions that you can energetically pull to, whatever that represents, right? So whoever I'm tapping into, you're choosing to occupy something that is bringing you great fortune. People are in regret for how they treated you. Maybe this is that turbulence. Maybe you're putting whoever I'm tapping into. A few you people are going through tough times in the social dynamics, right? And that's where I was getting in the beginning with the Empress energy. There's something about the facilitation of how you're, choosing to occupy decisions, maybe falling out with people. Let's bring that back up. Falling out with certain people in terms of not seeing the same eye to eye on certain things, right? And that's okay. In terms of not being able to align on the same co-aligned path, in terms of being in the same physical jurisdiction, you can still wish somebody well. You can still preside over somebody's belongings in terms of what you intend for them and what belongs to them in a very peaceful manner. What I'm saying is, without distance doesn't mean beef. And I feel like that's kind of what somebody I'm tapping into. It's a specific message. I don't know. Sometimes you got to make a decision for yourself and for your best self. And a lot of people, a lot of changes that is happening for a lot of people, and they're all of our subjectively tailor-made realities. It's almost like we're all coming to this choice point in terms of that crossroads. How do you view yourself, or how do you view yourself in regards to a certain dynamic or a certain regard of your life, especially if you're moving in turbulence? Of course, take what resonates. Don't gaslight yourself on my readings. But I would assume if you came this far, you would definitely be feeling aligned, right? But there's something about understanding the path, understanding flow as well, understanding the letting go aspect, surrendering could be significant. And so with the social aspect part, I'm being highlighted to go into this with this Empress in reverse energy, and those that doubt and antagonize you because they don't want you to be better than them. So I'm getting this energy of needing to make that in the affirmation, to make a disciplined decision for what is best for your presiding, especially if you're dealing with people on a social dynamic or social level that are that turbulence point, which for a few of you guys, especially if you're in a content creator, influencer, anything of that nature, that definitely could be one of your adversaries or, obstacles at this time. So I understand that as well. With the King of Swords energy, they're down to antagonize you because they don't want you to be better than them. So it's something about controlling energies is it's the polar opposite of whoever I'm tapping into at this time. You're surrendering this control because you're believing or surrendering, or there's some type of activation of a higher esteemed version of yourself that has the confidence, conviction to surrender. People don't really speak on certain faith. Faith, when you break those core elements down, you have to have a certain certainty to have faith. Even when you don't know anything, you still have to have a certainty that you have faith. You still have to have a certainty that that's what you believe. You have to have a certainty. That's why it's there's a difference between faith and a common strong belief and opinion, right? There's a difference between having faith in something and having an opinion on something, or a belief on something, or having a choice on something. When you have faith, there's only the one thing that you're kind of seeing, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not subjectively open to other things, but you're surrendering to what you believe, right? In a more certain, confident, convicting way than just something you believe, right? It's faith, right? And I feel like there's an importance on the breakdown of that in terms of what presides over whatever this expansion represents for whoever I'm tapping into, because that expansion is defined. I said this in a previous read before. What's defined from those shifts, that transformation, is completely defined by what it is that you think you can define. So let's go back over that. What it is that you think you can amount to, what it is that you think that you can embody, what it is that you think this shift can create for you, what it is that you think a setback can create for you, what it is that you think a set forward can create for you. I said a set forward, a win or a plus, you know what I mean? For lack of better words, I'm just freestyling, but what can you do with the energy? What I'm saying is it's all energy, and that's what the breakdown is. So when in a time of shift, expansion, changes, it's all energy. Good, bad, negative, positive. It's energy. What are we gonna do with it? How can we embody that, and how can we flow with that energy? There's a sense of co-creative control. That control is not a bad thing. It's also another message for somebody. And taking co-creative control and knowing the difference between co-creation and creation. on a macro versus micro level, if this is making sense. So understanding that one is one, everything is one, so meaning that things are going to happen regardless, things are going to get shot at you regardless, but the part of which that you do have control over is how you react and how you think and how you perceive certain things in your life that are tailor-made to be thrown at you, to see how you're going to think differently in regards to something being thrown at you, see how you're going to start feeling differently, doing differently, acting differently based on what it is that's the differentiation of what's thrown at you. So what I'm saying that to say is understanding the emotional chess game that life throws at us, right? It's always going to be something. I was just hearing that the other, I think it was today. I was just hearing that today from somebody. It's always something. It's always something. But saying that to say, though, that can be a very powerful thing in terms of there's always energy, there's always something that's going to be put in front of you. And what I'm saying is, it's subjectively put in front of you, that difficulty, that circumstance, that scenario, that ostracization, that hater, that sabotager, right? That doubter, that non-believer. These are all things, it's all energy to work with on a different level than maybe you saw before, or maybe on a higher level than you saw before, maybe on a lower level than you saw before. But I swear, I don't, you know what I mean? I swear it's subjectively different than what it was at a different time, because you're subjectively different in this present moment than you were at any other time. And that should prove that whole kind of like illusion of what time is. It's man-made illusion. But let's go back into the message. I ain't trying to get too far off, far from home, far from base. So what I'm tapping into, there's expansions and shifts, whether this is taking place in the psyche of yourself, whether this is taking place in, I'm really getting a highlighting over opportunities, experiences, maybe emotional, maybe even financial breakthroughs in terms of maybe seeing something or being able to see something, maybe healing breakthroughs, whether this is on a maturity level, whether this is on a financial level, whether this is on an opportunistic level. I'm definitely getting something big about opportunities coming in terms of this being somebody's clarity, balancing out of a situation, maybe after turbulent times, maybe after times that you had to fight for something, maybe after times I'm getting that kind of like, that grittiness, the resilience, that kind of energy is, strongly implicated into this message for whoever it's finding. So there's something about taking control or finding or being, or something about circumstances, whoever I'm tapping into, that have taught you how to take control over situations or dynamics that don't seem like you do have any control over. So whatever that represents, whoever I'm tapping into, you've progressed through a certain point, or you've progressed through certain dynamics, or you've progressed to a certain point that you're ready for some type of expansion. Whether that represents itself, of course it's representing itself spiritually, which is why I give these reads, but usually when I get these reads, it's going to manifest in some way on a psychological, physical level, soon to be in your reality. That's the whole point. Like I said, once it comes in as above, so below, once it's, manifested in the spiritual, as I'm connotating right now, it's only a matter of time before it's fully physically connotated into physical fruition, right? And so I'm going to give that probably the ending. I think this is a little longer one, but I just got a lot of readings to do. But it's just a little freestyle one. Whoever I'm tapping into is some type of just expansion that is happening at this time. I feel like I was just kind of getting like an energy forecast kind of read, kind of general. But either way, whoever I'm tapping into, there's some type of progression element in terms of your resilience that is leading you to a higher timeline. When I say a higher timeline, in expression, physical translation, correlation, or translation from what the work you've been doing, or the embodiment of the self that you're starting to articulate into fruition. When I say articulate into fruition, you're starting to embody this maybe higher respected version, maybe respecting yourself more, maybe something's taking off for you, something is growing on an energy level that is reflecting in progression externally, is what I'm saying. If you need a personal with me, hit up Shamika Sun with a C and Shamika@gmail.com. I got a partnership with Rose Forever New York and a partnership with Outer Spirit if you need 20% off of any rose decor, any bouquets, or any vibration enhancing jewelry. Either way, I'm about to start on this next read, and it's your boy Justice. Peace out, y'all.